So this is the first time that I've shown you this walk. Done this walk quite a lot, but first time I've got it on film, hopefully. And we're at Loch Lomond side at Sallochy, and we've just been parked up in the Sallochy car park, and across the road, come through a couple of stiles or posts in the road at the side of the road, and that takes you onto the Sallochy Forest Trail and to Wester Sallochy Farm, which is an old ruined farm, which I'll tell you about once we get up to it. A beautiful day today, absolutely gorgeous. Cold and a bit frosty with snow in the hills, but I don't know if we'll get much evidence of snow up here, but we'll certainly see it in the distance. So this is just a nice wee circular trip, it's not too far. A bit of a climb at the beginning and then a steady rise, but goes from this kind of forest track onto Forestry Commission road, which we all recognise. And just at this point the path goes into two, goes both. You can take either side. This is where the circular route starts. You can go up to your left there, or up the hill here, and we're going to go up the hill because that route where the other red marker is where we come back. We'll come back that way. So uphill first. Just need to watch your footing on this when it's frosty, but hopefully not too boggy because of that. A great sunny day, no wind to speak of. It's about 3 to 4 degrees, but yeah, looking forward to this. A beautiful walk. Through the trees there you'll see some hills, and that's where we're going, up to the top of one of those where there's a viewpoint that allows us to see back over the south of Loch Lomond, over to the Arrochar Alps and beyond. So this is all part of the Queen Elizabeth Forest Park in Loch Lomond. And it's quite busy at certain places, the popular places like Balmaha, and I'm sure Rowerdennan's rammed today as well. There's this half-term break for the schools. So lots of kids will be about, but hopefully not too many folk up this track. Following the red markers again. On this walk, right enough, there's only one colour. It goes through this nice wee bit. Obviously the storm damage again. These trees have been brought down but cleared by the forestry from the path. A wee bit wet at this point, but not too bad. Another wee rise here takes us up to Wester Sallochy Farm, which is a derelict ruin which dates back to around about 1750, I think, when a certain Duke of Montrose decided, rather than having tenant farmers that didn't make him a lot of money renting out small farmland and crofting areas, he decided to take part in what most of us will know as the Highland clearances. And the Highland clearances were about rich landowners wanting to make more money. And so they made the rents on these farms so big that it became unprofitable for these tenant farmers, therefore, to keep going. And that was really what happened. It wasn't about slaughters of people and herding people up and chasing them off. It was making it economically impossible for them to keep doing it. And this year you'll see the ruins here of one of those places, Wester Sallochy Farm. And yeah, so the rents were put up for, I suppose, what we all probably, if you've heard of the Highland clearances, you'll think it was just about huge amounts of sheep, intensive sheep farming, and not so much arable. It was wild stock, because you couldn't farm up here with arable. So here it was, it was either sheep farming, hill farming, intensive. But in this case, the Duke of Montrose began to make money out of oak tree plantations. So there was money in oak trees, and that was for, amongst other things, shipbuilding and so on. They used oak, but mainly here it was Eurasian oak that was grown for the bark, and they used the bark in the tanning process of leather, so that cowhide was then soaked in tannins, which I believe softened it and gave it durability at the same time, and colour probably. But so that was what was grown here. It was huge oak plantations, and oak, there were oak, natural oak trees in the area, but these were huge coppiced oak plantations that were built, and that made more money than tenant farmers. So you can see these are the ruins of those farmhouses and I suppose stock pens and things like that were here. And all of those people in the Highland clearances were either chased into industrial areas, like so big industrial areas like Glasgow and that, which were beginning to become part of an industrial heartland, or people emigrated. People went to places like America and Canada, and then eventually on to Australia as well, some people, but mainly America and Canada. And some of the younger men probably went into things like the army. And yeah, so the Highland clearances, as I say, wasn't about slaughter of hundreds and thousands of people. It was making them move because it was not worth the money anymore. You'll see up here on the tree is a bit of plastic. It's gutter piping or down piping, and that's there, I think, for monitoring squirrels. So the squirrels will run round the tree and go through that, and there's probably some way that they're able to spot the footprints of the squirrels. Maybe a piece of paper or like carbon paper or something in there that you'll see footprints. And here it's not grey squirrels, it's red squirrels. the natural squirrels are around here. There's, I think a lot of the grey squirrels have actually been culled. They carry disease, but more than that, they chase away the red squirrels that are much smaller and more timid, I suppose. I've seen grey squirrels yet locally to meet, and they made a lot of damage in my house. They got under the roof tiles and made a lot of damage. But the red squirrels I've seen as well in Scotland. At places up north a wee bit more, you see more of them at the side of the road sometimes, or Dunkeld up at where the ospreys nest. There's lots of red squirrels up there that I've seen from observation posts, and they're amazing, beautiful little creatures. So we continue to rise, not too steep, but we continue to rise till we get up here onto the Forestry Commission track. Beautiful here though, eh? The colour of that sky raises your spirits. So here we go, this is the forestry road now. Not very wide, but wide enough for a forestry truck to come down. So you can go that way, but we go this way and follow this now. From that exit that we took from the forest path onto this road, it's about, I don't know, maybe half a mile, slow gradual uphill, and we'll come up in a while to the return route of the circular path. Amazing sky again. You'll see where we've come from, over to the loch over here, through the trees, but when we get to the viewpoint up above, that's when we'll really see Loch Lomond, at least the south end of it. So coming up to these red markers onto our left here, and that's the return route, which we will go down to return back to the car park. And it's amazing. Look, there's ahead of us, there's one of those red posts has got a wee pal sitting on it, a wee robin, and yeah, just flown off. So we will catch up with the robin when we make our descent down here, but I'll just show you what it looks like just now, as soon as it decides to say hello to the robin too. So there's the sun glinting off Loch Lomond down south, and we are going to go and see a better view even than that. We're going up higher, but hopefully the sun's not right in the lens and you'll be able to see this over to the west shore and the hills over to the west where the Arrochar Alps, and over up to all the way the road all the way up past Luss and Turbot. We're getting followed by the robin right enough. Amazing, isn't they? See him sitting in, I don't know if you can see him sitting in there. I'll try and zoom in. So he's right in there, flitting about, the wee robin. Soon having fun being out and about, she's never happier. There's no sheep or anything about here, so we're okay. She'll go in the lead if there's any issues at all. So still a gentle rise, and then when we get on a wee bit I'll show you into the right here. Behind all these trees there's right in here you'll see a prominence, let's say a hill. It's not a mountain, it's just a hill, but on top of that it's a fabulous viewpoint, and that's where we're heading. Yeah, up there. So up you'll see at the top there's where we're going to stand, and then it's a clear sight down the loch. Interesting bit coming up. There's just as we get round this bend here ahead of us, we come across a fenced area, and it's old quarries that have been left out of use now, and they're not huge, but I'm not sure if they were quarries for the road builders to use the stone from them to put on these roads, the forestry roads, or whether they were worth much more than that and used for other reasons, slate or whatever, but I doubt it. I think it's probably more likely they were just used locally here. If you know, here's a shout. The quarries though are now, as I say, fenced off, and they're full of water. This is the first one on the right here. There's another one a bit further up there. Look. So you see the temperature's obviously been down here because it's well frozen over, and this point here is where we are going to walk to just now, up to the top of that small hill. But I'm not even sure if there's any fish or anything in there, but there'll certainly be amphibians. There'll be a place where I would imagine frogs and newts and so on come along. Too early yet for some of them, although when I was up at Loch Lomond during the week I saw the first sign of tadpoles a wee bit earlier than usual. But that rings true of last night. I was checking the nest box to see if it was clean enough for this season, and sure, there you go, at 11:30 at night there was a blue tit roosting in it. No nest building yet, but there's lots of seed pods and things in it, so it's obviously been using it to keep out the cold a wee bit, and for feeding. There's bird feeders right next to it, and it'll be interesting to see whether that's this year's hen that's coming to lay eggs. I've had, it must be for about 10 years now, blue tits nesting in that box, and there's a camera in it, so I spend time watching the blue tits laying eggs and feeding young, and hopefully fledging not always successful every year, but we'll see. The hen will be looking for a buddy just now, I'm sure, if she's not already found one, a mate, and then we'll see how we go. But yeah, it's early. It's usually don't see eggs getting laid till about May, early May, but who knows with this way the seasons are now. Keep you posted on that anyway. I'll show you that no doubt in a video in the future. So this is the second quarry here, and you see they're only very small, frozen over as well. Yeah, they're only very small, but I would imagine the stone has been taken out, as I say, for these rods here. And there's a robin come at that puddle there, look. Yeah, they're feisty wee things, robins. So here's the entry to the viewpoint. Again, red marker. Always follow the markers if they're there, or use a GPS app if you've got one. And I use All Trails, which is great because you can create your own routes if you want, but some of the well marked routes are on it, and it keeps you right with GPS. If you wander off the track, it gives you a warning, are you lost? Last bit now as we climb some rocky stuff. I say climb, shows how much I climb. But yeah, we got some rocks here, so because it's been frosty, I'll just be careful, and you do the same if you come up this way with the frost. Make sure you've got the right kit on. There's bits of icy stuff here, but it's fairly flat. At least the stones are fairly flat up a hill, and when we get another 20 yards or so, you'll see that it levels out, and this is where the views begin. And we'll see the Ben Lomond. There we go, through there, covered in snow. I don't know how deep it will be, but it looks beautiful and white, doesn't it? And up here, the last wee bit. How's about that then, eh? Isn't that amazing? So we're not very high here, but it gives you a great circular view here across to the Arrochar Alps over that way, the Ben, and the hills behind us. Down you see the path that we've come along, and down there you might see, next to where the sun hits the water, you might be able to see some buoys in the water, and that's Sallochy down that way towards Balmaha on the west coast of Loch Lomond, on that way to Rowerdennan on this side. Amazing though, eh? Beautiful.